Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us this Monday. I'm Aja Goare. Our top story this half hour: crews battling wildfires in California say the danger isn't over, but they're confident the worst is behind them. At least 40 people have been killed and about 5,700 homes and businesses destroyed. CBS's Maria Villarreal reports.
A week ago, this started as a nightmare, and the day we've dreamed of has arrived.
Optimism is growing for firefighters as they beat back the flames still burning across Northern California.
We're turning the corner. You're seeing those containment levels coming up. Things feel good in our gut as firefighters.
But they're not in the clear yet. On Saturday night, this home in Sonoma County burned down nearly a week after the fires first broke out.
It's gone. It's completely gone.
Victims like Christina Schott are now returning to some of the hardest hit neighborhoods to take stock of what's left.
It was really magical. Everybody loved coming and eating outside.
This is a one-stop shop for the beginning of what's going to be a long recovery process.
FEMA Representative Victor Inge says that process can start at local assistance centers like this one in Santa Rosa. People hoping to rebuild can apply for federal disaster assistance, cancel utilities, and even visit the DMV. For families that have lost everything, this is where they are finding a fresh start.
The outpour of all the help and caring and patience is just amazing.
The Pacific Gas and Electric Company is working to restore power to all the fire zone areas by tonight. Right now, the cause of the fire is still under investigation, but we do know the state of California has asked PG&E to preserve all evidence that could be related to these fires. Mireya Villarreal, CBS News, Santa Rosa, California.
The Sonoma County Sheriff estimates 140 people are still missing, although many of those could be due to communication difficulties. And at least one person is missing following an oil rig explosion on Louisiana's Lake Pontchartrain. Crews were cleaning the platform with chemicals when that blast happened. The missing person is a worker on the rig. 3 of the 7 people injured in the explosion are in critical condition, 2 of them in the burn unit. The cause of the explosion is under investigation. Here in Montana, the Hardin woman implicated for the 2015 murder of a 6-year-old girl will not have to register as a violent offender. Kirsten Oldbull recently received that response from the Montana Supreme Court in an appeal of her 20-year prison sentence. Oldbull pleaded guilty to criminal endangerment and obstructing justice for the death of Kiamora Hogan. The coroner determined the young victim died from severe head trauma. Oldbull, who claimed the girl slipped in the shower, avoided a murder conviction by admitting her conduct created a, quote, substantial risk of death. The judge restricted Oldbull's parole for 17.5 years, which Oldbull called unfair. The High Court upheld the sentence but said Oldbull does not have to register as a violent offender because the crimes she was convicted of are not violent. Residents of Huntley Project are mourning the loss of their head basketball coach today, who died in a crash this weekend. Kurt Kotz, the head coach for girls basketball team, died Saturday night. The crash happened on Interstate 94 just outside of Billings. The Montana Highway Patrol says the flatbed pickup truck was heading east on I-94 about 2 miles east of I-90 around 9:20 p.m. Kotz overcorrected, went through the median and rolled. The pickup came to rest on its roof on the shoulder of the westbound lanes. It's still unknown why Kotz overcorrected. That crash is under investigation. Kotz is a Huntley Project graduate and a former football and track coach at Billings Central. The district will have support services available for students and staff this week. A wildfire that broke out south of Great Falls Sunday afternoon came within feet of a pair of homes. The call came in just after 4 p.m. of a fire along Interstate 15 outside of Ulm. Authorities determined the fire was started when an old car muffler fell off of a vehicle. The fire charred around 6 acres and threatened 2 residences, actually coming within 30 to 40 feet of the houses. No injuries were reported. We turn now to the weather scene, where today the news is wind.
That's for sure, especially as we get east of the Continental Divide, Asia. Go ahead and take a look at the map. Lighter winds as we look towards the west, calm all the way from Dillon up into the Flathead Valley, but we're looking at very gusty winds down the east slopes of the Rockies. As we take it into tomorrow, we're going to see some of that shift towards the west as well. The winds are helping to warm things up across the eastern plains, but tomorrow, western Montana in particular, that could be a signal that we're going to see a shift in the pattern that's going to bring in some cooler and wetter weather, especially north of Missoula. Temperatures will respond by moving up. We'll take a look at all the details and above average temperatures in most of the region. I'll have the details in a few minutes from now.
Thanks, Ed. We'll check back in. A recent study shows tens of thousands of preschoolers are struggling with untreated vision problems. CBS's Kenneth Craig has more on what parents need to know.
For 7-year-old Peyton Giffis, visits to the eye doctor are now like clockwork.
The circle or the square? The circle. Good job.
And it's for good reason. At just 2.5 years old, she was diagnosed with a condition called strabismus, a misalignment in her right eye that forced it to turn inward and required corrective surgery.
It was scary. It was definitely scary.
What letter do you see?
Since then, Peyton has been getting annual comprehensive eye exams, which Dr. Sasha Blazer says go far beyond the simple eye chart test at a school or in a pediatrician's office.
If a kid can read far away, they usually pass those eye tests. But when it comes to reading up close, they might have major difficulties that would not be detected. The words might look like they swim around on the page.
A recent study published in JAMA Ophthalmology finds more than 174,000 preschoolers have vision impairment, and the problem is growing.
Every child should have an eye exam. The American Optometric Association recommends it 6 months to get the first exam.
It's now become just one of those yearly examinations. Rather than waiting for a problem, it's now part of our every year routine.
Peyton hasn't had any issues since her surgery.
I'm happy that I don't have to get glasses because I don't want them.
And now she's focusing on 2nd grade. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Jersey City, New Jersey.
And doctors say if parents notice kids are holding a book too close, squinting, or frequently rubbing their eyes, those may be signs of an eye problem. Still ahead on the noon news, the death toll rises in Somalia, where a car bomb exploded in the nation's capital. Details next. First, Ed has our weather forecast. Stay with us.
You're watching